Hello there, my name is Richard. The first time seeing my channel, I like to talk about animation. And today we're going to talk about a new anime series from Netflix called Junji Bizarre Japanese Tales of the Macabre. And this is basically a very famous author who did a manga that he is basically well known as the Stephen King of Japanese. But the only difference of Stephen King and Ito is that Ito is very strange how you approach horror. That he doesn't build horror, he make it weird and strange. It's sort of hard to explain. You need to be there that the horrific thing happened, because it's just so out there. It's sort of hilarious and scary. And that's the best way to describe Jitos' work. In fact, this is not the first time his work is adapted. This is like maybe the 5th or 6th time. In fact, even Adult Swim, they actually trying to produce another his works called Spiral. That's basically follow a few people in an island with some strange spiral image started appearing. You have to avoid it. If not, you want to become it. Sounds weird. That's how Jito Idol works. And this new anime adaptation adapted sort of a mythology of short stories of the Japanese horror. All of them are good, in between bad. I mean, depends. Especially his work. He works so well on the manga version, because you said it's black and gray and sort of worn down in a way, and that's the reason to make it kind of terrifying, unnerving, scary. And this version adapts it, but at the same time it gives a little bit too much color. That's the best way to describe it. It works some shorts and doesn't, because some of the characters of this story are unusually weird. That it's sort of how to describe it. It's sort of like the secondary characters of One Piece. Some of the characters are designed very out there, kind of cartoonish. GT Ito's design characters are like that. It's sort of weird but more horrific than just strange. That's something that nobody knows, is that one guy who's building the house looks a little bit kind of strange. Not like horrific strange, just he feels he does not belong, but everybody just cool, like don't judge him kind of feeling. But that's sort of the ironic humor of this kind of anime, or the creator, because they're trying to bring that in these shorts. In a way, it works, depends on which version of it. In fact, one of the best stories of this manga was the Balloon People. If you read the manga or the infamy of that short story, it's so strange and bizarre. You worry you watch that episode, they will ruin it, because it's sort of hard to actually pull it off. And they actually presented like 20-minute episode of it, because how this show runs, each episode depends what is the story. If it's like a very small short story, they just do it 10 minutes. But it's this long, very intense story. It's beloved. They stretch it out to 20 minutes to actually pull it off. And the way, yes and no. The balloon one, the most infamous one, actually does work, but it just didn't land the ending as terrifying. Because at the very end of that balloon short story, that the character submits to the balloons. But it's sort of kind of bizarre, weird, but not like terrifying, just accept it. In the manga, you put that in there, that you read that short, you feel submission, you feel there is no way out. And that's the sort of terrifying thing about that short. It also infamous how really bizarre, it's sort of hard to explain, because the balloons are people who are just balloons who eliminate their own versions of themselves who look like them without any explanation. It's just very strange and bizarre. And that's the thing, this sort of work and doesn't. In fact, if you're a fan of this animator work of his manga, do you feel they actually well executed or not? In my opinion, I feel they did it good enough. It's alright. Usually Jito's work, they never was fully let's just great transfer a different medium. They make movies, other anime, but every time they do it, it never feels like his work. It's almost kind of not there, except for maybe one or two. They kind of did it right, but even that, the fans who love his work kind of disagrees because it's not there. Not because they're sort of snobs or anything. It's because his work is just so strange. It's sort of hard to describe that people would just recommend read just one chapter. That's all you need to do, and you just read it, you get it. And this anime does this fine. It's like, this is not the worst adaptation or the best. It's sort of in the middle road. Some of them work sort of not. Like the first episode is about the family, their parent passed away, and all of them sort of oddballs, kind of strange. They're trying to summon their parents back to see what's going on, but at the very end they are just awful people and they get the just desserts, and that could work, but it feels that didn't land it well. But the balloon episode, I feel they did a better job, and that's how it feels. Like some episode feels really good, some really don't. Like the sort of kind of cave, that's an episode about this kid, his mom disappeared in a cave, they doesn't know why, and got older, he went back, they got more stranger, bizarre, and they sort of disappears in a sort of horrific way that just had to be there to understand. It kind of works, but at the same time, I don't know. That's the thing. This is sort of, I want to say a meh kind of anime. It's not bad, it's not terrible, it's fine. Because I understand his work can never really truly be adapted, because they do one simple mistake is they're trying to make it with color, and jitos work is never is about the color. It's about the sort of roughness, the sort of kind of black and white drawings, and they try never to do that. Yeah, I feel that could be the biggest mistake every time they adapted his work. You have to do the roughness that he makes, the sort of uncertainty, that sort of weird, like almost artsy. It's sort of hard to do, but that I do like it. Even I kind of not fully appreciate all the mistakes they do. But I kind of recommend it if you're sort of curious. If you never read his manga, this anime would be an interesting introduction if you're curious, if you want to read the manga. But the rest of it is okay. I do recommend skip the first episode, because the first episode, in my opinion, it wasn't good. But at the same time, it's sort of trying to make comedic, because his work is a very comedic sort of tone of horror. But once again, it depends of your sense of humor, and it depends if you like his work like that. If they don't do it exactly like the manga, it just feels they sort of fail or misunderstood his sort of work. That I do kind of recommend it if you're curious. If you're a fan, I say kind of try at least a few episodes, at least the balloon episode. That's probably the only one that's sort of worth watching, but even they sort of messed up the end. But that, I got nothing else to say, just one question. Have you seen it? You like it? You hit it? Tell me down below, let me know. I got nothing else to say, just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.